All right. We are now rocking with the best, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to another exciting, exhilarating episode of the new wrestling podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Katie Drummond, and I am here with the not one, not two, not three, but the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Say what's up to the people, Pat.
I'm gonna put some soul on it this time, fellas. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Take him to
To the greatest pro wrestling coverage on God's green earth. I am Patrick No C Walker, aka the kayfabe of the magnificent and new wrestling. Welcome back to another ep.
Say what's up to the people, Josh.
Hi, this is Josh, the Josh Rodriguez of Film School University. Welcome back. Wait, that's not it.
Yeah, that's not it.
You're working with the best. Wait, that's not it either.
No.
That's not it.
Where the dogs at?
No.
That's not it either. Film School University. What's up, y'all?
Too late.
Hold up. But I mean, as the honorary member, that whole intro that you just did, there was no melanin content in there at all. You were like, "Hi, this is John." That don't.
Yeah, that was a lot of melanin.
I didn't know who that was.
Who in the blue hell are you?
I don't know who you are anymore, Josh.
Wow. So much coleslaw.
Oh man, yeah, he was too many races in the coleslaw.
I can only be myself, y'all. I'm not going to code switch for anybody.
But that's the thing. That's not you. That's my point. Like, we know
point.
how you talk.
That's the point. Before the mic and the camera went hot, that's not how you were.
Right, exactly.
That's not how you were.
Josh, the Josh Rodriguez of Film School University.
Well, he went from the jocks to the Revenge of the Nerds real quick.
Yeah, we already cutting up, man. Still,
Lambda face says.
What's happening, y'all? Let me do this correctly real quick. I just got one question. Is there any dogs in the house? Here we go. Bring this thing back.
Man. Josh tried to put a stink on it, man. We can't go for that. We are back with another episode, man, and we are so thankful that you guys tune in with us every week. And in the middle of the week, we had a recap episode after the PLE, after Bad Blood, but still that is going to be the topic of conversation for today. So make sure you are buckled in, strapped in, whatever you need to do to not leave, to not let your eyeballs drift away from this conversation, because we have a lot to talk about, and we are going to start backwards when it comes to the PLE. The last match of Bad Blood was the combination tag team of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu of the Bloodline. And we knew there was going to be interference, and we knew when they said it was going to be the main event match that there was going to be some tomfoolery going on in the ring, and we absolutely got that with the tag team champion Bloodline after they defeated the Street Profits and DIY. Yeah. We can talk about that later, put a pin in that conversation. They showed up to help out the bad guys, but lo and behold, there was help for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And no, it wasn't Randy Orton. And no, it wasn't Kevin Owens. It was Jimmy Uso. Talk to the people about how you felt when that happened, Pat.
Oh, man. Finally.
Yeah.
It has been since mid-July. I wrote for the Sporting News in mid-July that Jimmy Uso was medically cleared. We are now in October. So for weeks and weeks after that article was written, we were wondering when was Jimmy Uso going to show up? Was it going to be SummerSlam or what was happening? But the fact that Jimmy Uso is back, we had a little bit of a scare by way of his dad, Rikishi, on social media about 3 weeks ago saying prayers are welcome for Jimmy Uso. We all get scared like, oh, did he have a medical setback? Thankfully, no. It was just the Hall of Famer, attention seeking as he tends to do. But Jimmy Uso, he came out. So before that match, I tweeted it. I live tweeted and I said, all I'm waiting on is Jimmy Uso to come out in the black hoodie and wreck shop.
Yeah.
And God damn it, I got exactly what I wanted. And finally, and Jimmy came out and he wrecked the Tongans. And Solo gets the spear from Roman, and that ends the match. And then the emotion afterward, though, is what really helped carry that whole execution of Roman and Jimmy in the ring, and Roman getting up and that look on his face of remorse, of understanding how fucked up it was that he treated Jimmy, and Jimmy still came to his aid. And I don't know if you guys saw, they released the audio of what was being said between the two of them, because in real time you couldn't hear over the pop from the crowd. But Roman looked at Jimmy and he was like, really? You called the play. You called the play,
Right.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
harkening back to Roman was supposed to be the QB and Jimmy was supposed to run whatever play Roman called. So now roles are kind of reversing the aspect of now Jimmy is getting that respect and that salute from Roman for no matter what they went through, no matter what Roman put him through, blood is actually thicker than all of that water. So Jimmy is back, creates a whole nother level to the Bloodline saga, especially considering Solo is Jimmy's younger brother. I mean, yeah, I could not get enough of that. I watched that segment, and of course, the one after that we'll talk about here shortly. But I watched that particular segment from Jimmy sliding from underneath the ring, which means no telling how long he was under there. But dedication, I respect it. Slid from under the ring, stood there, waited for them to turn around, and then super kick, and then the emotions afterwards, man, it was fantastic. Just absolute stellar story writing, and even more so, the execution. They sold the hell out of it.
Hey, real quick,
Absolutely.
there was
Go ahead.
a shot of Drew McIntyre when he went to go underneath the ring earlier in that PLE. You could see the TV under there. So in my head, I'm like, okay, who's coming out? I was hoping it was going to be Jimmy because I was sick of KO and the Randy Orton thing. And obviously, we'll talk about what happened with that. But yeah, I was glad it was Jimmy, and I was glad it didn't linger. Right, like he came out, Solo played it well. Tama Tonga turns around, he takes him out, it takes out Tongaloa, goes right, he distracts Solo. Solo gets I think it was the Superman punch or the spear. 1, 2, 3,
to end it, yeah.
And it's over. That way, you don't. That emotion of Jimmy coming back, the pop, the feel is all there.
Wasted.
It wasn't wasted by lingering and another person coming out or anything like that. And like you said, Pat, I think the best thing about it was the aftermath of those two coming together, hugging for the first time in months. I mean, maybe Mania, pre-Mania, post-Mania. But yeah, I loved it. 10 for 10 return. We all were waiting for it forever. And now we starting to build up towards Survivor Series.
But then they left the ring and the Bloodline went to go jump Cody. And they had the conversation outside the ring. And Jimmy's like, and Roman does not want to go help. He's like, we tag team, we got the win, we're out of here. And Jimmy looks at Roman, he's like, dog, what you gonna do? Like, I'm following your lead.
Call the play.
Call the play if you're gonna be the quarterback. And then they went in there and they saved Cody. And it was a tremendous reigniting of that feud because, you know, after they saved him and Roman picks up the belt, like there's no handshake. There's no, you know, they're like, no, wait. Did that happen first?
He gave him a nod. He gave him a nice little nod on the way out. Yeah, he gave him a respectful nod.
Okay. Yeah. He gave him the respectful nod. And then the moment that Steel has been waiting for, the final boss.
Hey, dog, I woke my son up when he came out.
I bet you did.
Just bring it.
I bet you did. Talk to me about that, Steel. How did that go off for you? How did that make you feel, man? How did the execution of it all?
Man, The Rock, he's the best, man. He truly is the fucking best. How can he just continue to come back every 5 years, 7 years, 10? It doesn't matter, and I'm getting chills.
It doesn't matter how often he comes.
And you have that same feeling. And what was dope about it, because I'm like, what is he about to do? There was this Hogan's coming to the ring. Well, whose side is he on? I had no clue. And then he just, I don't know what the 3, 2, 1 countdown, 1, 2, 3, 4 countdown thing was. And he dipped. I'm like, oh my.
Oh, you know what this was, though?
The throat slash. Like he's like
the throat slash. This is cinema, is what it was.
It was hit my music. It was 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Hit the music, and then he did the throat slash. And it's just, well, who again? Harking back to Hogan, whose side is he on, Josh?
Right.
100%, man. There's a lot to be. There's a lot to digest when it comes to the return of The Rock. However, I'm thinking after you have the Jimmy return, which was cinema, absolutely, and just to piggyback or just to rewind a little bit, it was cinema, 100%. Jay returns. I love the idea that Will brought up a few weeks ago when we were talking about the possibility. And granted, we predicted just about everything on And New Wrestling, by the way,
I'm telling
if you haven't been listening. But when we talked about Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes teaming up, Will was against it. He didn't like the idea. He said, there's no way that you put these guys together after they've been feuding for years and years and years. They did it.
Proved him wrong.
No, but Will was right. because now there are repercussions for Cody Rhodes deciding to team with Roman Reigns. Not only do you, of course, you have Jey Uso returning, which is a big deal, but now you have
Jimmy.
Jimmy, sorry. Now you have Kevin Owens turning on Cody Rhodes. Be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? This is Roman Reigns. You see what he's done to us the last, 3 years that he's been champion? Like, are you kidding me, dude? What? How? So to me, the psychology of them teaming up together is now coming to fruition in the way that Will predicted. Like, he was upset when we were talking about, like, how dare you team them up? And now you have actual repercussions of the locker room being like, fuck this. Why are they teaming up with Roman Reigns, dude? The guy's been the worst heel in wrestling history, basically, over the last 3 years. So on top of that, when The Rock returns, to me, that just signals we're going even further with the bloodline. 1000% Survivor Series is The Rock's bloodline versus Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and more. And I want to see how Kevin Owens. What's that?
You think it's Cody that's going to be a part of it?
100%. 100%. I mean, I would be surprised if not. I really would, since he's so ingrained in this, especially with The Rock. To me, it's The Rock and Cody. That's what you're building to.
Yeah, if you're building towards The Rock and Cody, that makes sense.
And The Rock and Roman, like he's going to be feuding with both.
See, this is the discussion, though, right? And this is the discourse that's out there in WWE universe, and we're talking about it now, and we've been talking about it, and the world is talking about it. Is this building up to Roman? I'm sorry, Roman versus Rock, or Rock versus Cody? I know some people are saying, "Oh, triple threat." I don't want the triple threat. I think that's aim the Rock at one or the other. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for, because it makes too much sense for both. If you go back right before The Rock left for his latest hiatus to resume his filming and everything, that episode on Raw, that promo that they cut, whatever he put in Cody's hands, he looked at Cody and he said, "Don't ever break my heart again." Okay, that sets up perfectly for what's going on now, because now Cody has basically, if The Rock views Cody as the reason that Roman and Jimmy just turned on Solo and the Tongans, then that means he just broke The Rock's heart again. So that works. Or he could be aiming, he being The Rock, he could be aiming at Roman and saying, "You've got some fucking nerve. I step away for a few months and I come back and you're spearing Solo and Jimmy is with you and all over Cody? No, you got to get it." So that's what I think the Mafia throat cut was, because that's family thing right there.
And that's why that was his whole thing.
That was his whole thing from the very beginning. That's why he started feuding with Cody. Is you don't disrespect my family.
That's why I said, could Cody be omitted in this situation? Because this feels like, if it does head towards a beef between Rock and Roman, it's because family, right? Like, hey man, I got involved with this because you asked me to get involved with this, and the reason why I smacked Cody Rhodes is because he disrespected the family, right? The bloodline, the tree, the whole background at WrestleMania in Las Vegas when they did the pre-kickoff show or what have you.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's probably is trending towards Cody being there, but I'm still of the ilk that I would like to see Cody kind of separate from it for a little bit. He can insert himself later and figure out, build a different feud. But I guess it's going to be hard when this is money. I guess it's hard when this is money.
So here's my take as somebody that hasn't been here for the whole Rock and Cody rivalry and the whole build up before WrestleMania, right? I joined the world after Cody had the title. But what I'm seeing, and you guys are going to love this, because we always talk, especially Josh is going to love this, we always talk about how something is cinema. But they're setting up for Cody and Roman Reigns to be the Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy of 48 Hours, the Mel Gibson and Danny Glover of Lethal Weapon, the what's the other one that I had in mind? Tango and Cash, right? The people that are rivals that are forced to work together, and they get so good at it. Like, there's always going to be that animosity. They're always going to be able to, like, the heel turn is always going to be right on the precipice every time that they work together, but they continue to work together through the storyline. And I can just see that being the case, especially if they're oppo The Rock. The Rock gives Solo and Jacob the credence. He gives them the veteran savvy of making that a legitimate side to beef with, that you can then have Cody and Roman on the same side to be opposition to that. And I just think, as you said, the whole idea of bringing Jimmy back, Now Jay is on Raw and he has a title, so that brings cachet to that part of the
For
family.
now.
You could potentially see
For now.
Jay being on either side of the whole thing, right? Because Jay had beef with everybody when he left the Bloodline, right? You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that the case when Jay left the Bloodline, that he had nothing to do with
He
anybody
super
after
kicked
that, right?
everybody and got up out of there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
he was
so-
like deuces, ooses.
Yeah.
Right. so
That's what he said.
you could see him fall in line with pretty much either side, depending on how they want to play things out. And I just think the way that The Rock's return expands the whole world with that angle of having Cody and Roman tag teaming and being on the same side and always having that thing right underneath the surface, it's just a brilliant way to go for me.
Well, I'm gonna
Really
tell you
quickly,
right now. Go ahead,
really
Josh.
quick. With The Rock, and you now legitimize the Bloodline again because
I was
Solo's
about to
taken
say that.
so many L's.
I was about to
Solo's
say that.
he hasn't won a singles match. So
And
I mean,
it's not
you
Timu
legitimize the Bloodline
It's-
2.0.
Yeah, it's not Timu Bloodline if The Rock is leading it. It's just
Exactly.
I become a
it can't-
fan of the
it's
Timu
impossible.
Wish bloodline though, because I like Tamatanga. Yeah.
That shit
I
is
like,
hilarious.
I like Jacob.
That
Fox
is
too.
hilarious. Like, I ain't even
Oh,
going
man.
front.
So like,
Give him a
bro,
damn-
He's straight to the Jesus Christ guy. You know that guy? Jesus Christ. I love you,
I've become
God.
a fan.
I know
of-
it's
I become a fan, man.
Seawalk.
I become a fan.
Seawalk.
But you're right. If The Rock is leading it, then yeah, there's a legitimacy to it. But I want you, KD, to kind of, whenever you get a chance, what happened after the show could also play a factor in what I'm saying about Cody too, though.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's
Yeah.
talk about what happened
Yeah.
after the show. I don't know if the person filming it was a WWE plant, the kind of person that
Maybe.
Bronson
Maybe.
Reed picked up out of the crowd and hurtles toward
Maybe
Braun
still
Strowman.
classic. Still
But
classic.
it was so unbelievable, the footage. Kevin, what are you doing? Like that scream, that thing will go down in history.
Dude,
It was so epic to watch Kevin Owens beat down Cody and have the fans reacting the way that they did in the camera. I don't know if there are other people that have camera.
yeah,
angles.
there's multiple angles
There's
of it.
multiple
Yeah,
ones.
it's fans.
Perfect.
Okay,
Beautiful.
so here's my take on how just masterclass this is.
Oh, it's beautiful.
What's kayfabe and what's not in this situation? Triple H knew exactly what he was doing by having that happen in the spot that it happened, because fans were allowed to be upstairs looking down on that parking garage, right? So as superstars came out, the buses were right there. The fans had the access, and Triple H knew the fans had the access, and with the fans come the camera phones, right?
Mhm.
So if Triple H is saying, you know what, we want the broadcast portion to be so unbelievably epic, and we want to end the broadcast portion on The Rock. We want to find a way where it doesn't take away from Jimmy's return and the return of The Rock. We don't want to convolute this. We don't want to convolute this. We want this just pure bloodline comeback. So Jimmy is back, and the only thing that we want to one up the Jimmy is back and feed into that also is The Rock. You don't want to mess with that. But then they're saying, okay, here's an opportunity for us to completely break kayfabe, make it look like this is not supposed to be happening. That's why on Raw yesterday, nobody would talk about it. They're really leaning into that. Nobody would talk about it. Joe
Triple H said we'll handle it internally.
Right. He tweeted that. And then who's my guy? I'm blanking out. Who's my
Joe
guy?
Tessitore?
No. Wade
Barrett.
Barrett. So
Right,
Wade
yeah.
started to talk about it, and Joe was like,
And
wait.
Joe's like, nope. Nope.
We can't speak about that. Seth, during his promo, he mentioned it, took the shades down, and was like, but I'm not supposed to talk about that. So let's move on. They're leaning into it completely to keep us bought in for SmackDown when it's finally going to be spoken on. Kevin's probably going to be there. Cody's definitely going to be there. It's all going to be, but the fact that it went viral, the way that it did, it looks like Kevin, because Kevin he's the prize fighter, right? So he's like, fuck these cameras. It's going down right now. It's not going down on SmackDown like everybody's been waiting. I'm not running out to the ring in Mercedes-Benz Stadium at Bad Blood. I don't even want the attention. This is pure Kevin Owens heel shit. I don't want the attention. I want you to catch these fucking hands is what I want. I don't really want anybody to watch, but if anybody's watching, who gives a shit?
Who cares?
That's Kevin Owens as a heel. This is about to be magnificent.
I'm wondering if, and again, we're filming on Tuesday. So by the time people see this, it will already have happened, which is always the weird thing about when you're going live and you have such a busy schedule with the broadcast, right? Randy Owens is wrestling tonight on NXT against Javon Evans. And we can talk about Javon Evans in a minute because that kid is going to be a
Kevin Owens?
superstar. No. Sorry. Javon Evans versus Randy Orton.
Orton. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Randy Orton is wrestling Javon Evans on NXT on Tuesday night. I'm wondering what Randy Orton thinks about what happened with Kevin.
We already know what Randy Orton thinks.
He's spoken on it.
Go look at his Twitter. Okay. He didn't speak on it directly, but he responded to a fan. So a fan tweeted him a video, one of the angles of Kevin putting hands on Cody, and the caption toward Randy was, "Randy, where you at? Come get your boy Kevin. Why is this happening like this?" And Randy's response was two emojis. It was a hand clap and a laughing face emoji.
So we talked about who would turn last week, remember?
Yeah.
And we talked about Kevin Owens could be the one, but the way they did it, like you said, I think it was genius. It's one of a kind. We haven't seen this. Usually, what you see is backstage stuff. You'll see them get thrown in the trailers. You'll see all that. Hell, The Rock did it to Cody, but it was on the broadcast. Yes. They leaned into social media. They leaned into 2024 and said, we don't have to do it. Similar to what Netflix used to do. Netflix didn't have to spend money on promotion because you were going to talk about what was on Netflix every single time, so it was free promotion. They said, well, let's see how this goes. Maybe they will do more of this, but I honestly hope it's spaced out because this was so unique and it was so cool. I even at first was like, obviously, I definitely think it's a work, but I think it's a cool work. And I was like, wait, is this supposed to happen like this? And yes, it is, but it was so cool, man. But this takes me back to, this could be a perfect opportunity to keep this within the family when it comes to the bloodline, because he has no room or bandwidth to worry about what's happening in family business when KO is trying to take your head off for turning his back on him in regards to this whole situation. So I would love to see this build up to KO and Cody part 2 as Survivor Series while the bloodline's still going on, with the lingering thought in the back. Could Cody come out and help? Could the bloodline, I mean, could this thing still cross at some point? So that's what there you go. You have the layup right there for Cody to kind of remove himself for a little bit, but also stay close enough, because the whole beef is because the bloodline, to stay close enough to enter back in whenever they need to.
I'm gonna say this real quick and I'm gonna throw to Josh. I'm gonna pull a William Steele, and here's my fantasy booking. Survivor Series, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, Randy Orton as special guest referee.
Oh, the thought of what he could do in that situation. Ooh.
RKO out of nowhere, but to who? To which one?
And we talked about like a double heel turn. And it's been years since he's been here.
I'm telling you, that's my fantasy booking for Survivor Series.
I like that.
Go, Josh. What you got?
I think at least for the way that it's handled is masterful. But to me, I was like, okay, yeah, that's really cool. I love how they did that. And then they're going to address it on Monday. It'll be fine. The fact that they're like burying it on TV, that was just like, oh,
it's beautiful.
Don't talk.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
it reminds me of the 90s, right? Where there was no internet. He was like, yo, I heard this happen.
Yes. Yes. And just
can you imagine?
Imagine also the same, imagine the Jey Uso kid, the same kid that was just like, oh my God, Jey Uso just won the Intercontinental Championship. And then to see that happen on your phone and be like, oh my God, what just happened? Why did he do that to Cody Rhodes?
Right.
Like that would blow your mind if you're a kid.
No, Kevin, no.
It'll be the most watched segment on Friday because we don't know what they said, and Cody's going to address it.
Right.
Absolute genius.
The point that you just brought up, Josh, actually happened with me and my son because he watched Bad Blood and he actually had walked away. When Josh and I talked right after the PLE, I told him, I was like, he was tired. It was 3 hours. He was like, I care about who wins, but I'm done. I can't consume any more wrestling. And I called him back in the ring when Jimmy came out, right? So, and he was going crazy and everything. So he had no idea when we were sitting down watching Raw last night that anything had happened between KO and Cody. Like when No C put up the article, like he had no clue of that. So while we're watching Raw, I bring up No C's article on Sporting News and I showed him the video of KO and his jaw dropped. like 10-year-old. Like he could not believe. And we've talked about the heel turns and all those sorts of things that he's just been kind of waiting to see. And we kind of saw the heel turn with Miz on R-Truth, right? And I told him, I was like, this is what it looks like. And when he saw that happen, his face was just total disbelief. And first of all, the guy was, because he was like, Kevin, what the fuck are you doing? Like all that kind of stuff, right? So he was loving all that. But when Josh said, the kid seeing that, like I literally experienced that with my kid. It is absolutely great writing by the Triple H team. Problem
100%.
though.
Can't beat it.
Question though.
Okay.
We speak all the time about the fact that the Bloodline doesn't need the tag team championship belts to legitimize themselves. And to a man, we all thought it's time. Give the belts to the Street Profits on the SmackDown before the PLE. And they had literally the move of the year when Montez Ford springboarded off of the top rope to the top of the ladder. Dog, that's some shit that I would have never have thought about. I don't know. Maybe it's happened before. You guys can
it's
correct
kind
me
of
if I'm
happened,
wrong.
but Montez is different. He's different.
He's just Mr. Athleticism, right? So like that was just an insane move to see. And it was right there for them to give Street Profits the walk-off grand slam home run of getting the tag team belts. And they took the belts from them again and gave it back to the Bloodline. And that opens a question for me because, again, we're talking about what's going to happen on Tuesday night. We're going to see Obafemi, the longest reigning champion in any WWE brand. He's going to defend it again against Tony D'Angelo on NXT on Tuesday night. Why aren't there more black champions on the WWE top brands? We've had that discussion go on in the past. It's resurfaced because Triple H was actually asked about it in the Bad Blood press conference. And he basically gave an answer that he lets the storylines and the talent dictate what happens. But there's a question on why, of all of this talent that's around, we're not seeing any black talent have the main belts in WWE. I am going to open the floor if you feel like joining in. I think Josh is the expert on this topic.
Yeah, I'll take it from here, guys.
I was going to say, I'm going to let the Latino speak because I'm not racist. So
we don't.
So
see,
yeah, just
we don't see colors.
I'm
so
sorry.
We're gonna go from lightest to darkest. So Josh, me.
There you go. There you go. So Josh, with your authority, how do you feel about this, man?
I don't see the big deal, guys. Just whatever.
Oh my God.
I mean, just be
like
better,
that Peter Griffin meme with the shades.
Right.
It's like, okay, Josh first. Okay, go.
All right. Hey, it's not quite the royal family over here. All right, guys. I am Hispanic after all. It's fucked up. I'll say that. It's fucked up. I don't know why. They're doing it that way. You had someone like Bobby Lashley, who I don't think ever really got like a full title reign.
No, he did.
But like, was it a title reign? Was it a real title reign? I always thought that, even back to The Rock. Like, The Rock never held the belt for a very long time, and he's not even like all the way black. You know what I mean?
I think that was more of a Vince thing, though. So we have to make sure we're speaking of
separate.
There's the Vince era. There's the Triple H era.
Because the Vince era, there's a ton of fucking demons there.
Bobby was a Vince guy, and Bobby did get the belt too.
Yeah.
How long did he really hold on to the belt? Like,
I want to say it was twice. He had the newer version of the belt.
Okay.
Heel version. I think.
Well, Bobby's in AEW now.
But
Bobby MVP Hurt Business is getting back together.
I think they're like the Hurt Syndicate over there or something.
In my experience, the most egregious, at least for me, and sorry, I'm going to go back to the Vince era, but Booker T not winning the belt from Triple H at Mania.
That goes down as one of the
That was one of the most egregious.
That was the reign of terror
squashes of all time. Like that was absolutely uncalled for. You had a perfect. It was WrestleMania in Houston, where Booker T is from. And you had this amazing vignette with Booker T.
Man.
And he gets absolutely fucking squashed in that match. Uncalled for, just...
And Josh, I think that's why Triple H gets dubbed what he's being dubbed right now. It starts there.
Involved in that.
It starts right there as because at that point, that was the middle or maybe the beginning, I can't remember, of the reign of terror KD, go Google it, look it up. You'll
Okay.
see it's when Triple H just held the belt so many times where he should not have. And he had backstage politics. He was very powerful. Shawn was gone. No Hogan. Rock is in and out. Triple H had so obviously marrying the daughters, but that was in Vince's era. With Triple H booking, and again, it's tough because you want to see representation, no doubt about it. And that's going to help the little kids that are seeing the next Kofi Kingston, the next Montez Ford, the next Ricochet, the next whomever, right? You want to see Bobby Lashley. You want to see that representation. But you also, on the business side, who's the draw? Who's going to draw the money? And a lot of those guys, it's few and far between. This is why when we first started this, I wanted Montez Ford to go single. Because I feel like Montez Ford could be the next black money draw. He has a charisma. He could be a heel. He could be a face. He has the athleticism. He's still in his young 30s. That could be the next, Bobby Lashley, I guess, was the last kind of black, megastar. Yeah, megastar, right? I would love for that to happen. But on the main roster, it's like, yes, I want to see the representation, but also who? In the singles can really ring me in. When Ricochet had the title, I'm like, Ricochet, you flippity floppity, but I wasn't feeling Ricochet. He had no charisma like that. Bobby was the last one, y'all, and he's no longer here. And it's like, all right, now it's time to bring. It's not Carmelo, right? Ricardo was Mello. Right. I thought maybe it could be Mello. It's not Mello.
It's not Mello.
I know who it is, but he ain't on the main roster.
Carmelo has the athleticism to be that guy, but he can't sell worth a damn yet.
I will give him credit for selling the shit out of that BFT though. He sold that he was a tent spot.
Yeah, but I mean he can't sell a punch.
And by the way,
when he's hurt or like comical. Like he's not there yet.
And by the way, I'm mostly talking about the top spot right now. Now, mid card, you can obviously put the U.S. title, and no offense, because LA Knight's holding it down very, very well. You can put the U.S. title on Mello. You can put the U.S. title on Trick if he comes up. You can put the U.S. title on these guys. But we've seen that before. The representation we're looking for is who's the next African American face on WWE.
Right.
I think that's an excellent point, and I think that when it comes time for the WWE draft, I mean, you're going to see guys like Javon Evans, and I am a massive fan of Javon Evans. Absolutely,
he has the charisma they want.
Yeah, he does.
Ricochet to have.
He does,
and he can do the flip shit.
He does. There are two black male superstars. And I'm sticking to black male superstar because I think from a black woman standpoint, you have Jade, you have Bianca, they have those
front and center.
Yeah, they have those mega stars. Like Jade is a mega star in the making. Bianca is a mega star. Naomi is a Hall of Famer who still, operates.
And they've held titles.
Right. But when you talk about who's next, to answer your question, for me, it has to be twofold, but in that mix has to be Obafemi. It has to be Obafemi. So I'm completely fine with, Oba continuing his reign. I think that he'll defend it again successfully against D'Angelo. I think that's setting up for a trilogy for the next big PLE. Okay, cool. I say you let Oba drop the belt at the next PLE to set him up for the draft at the end of the year so that he can come up to the main roster. And that's your next Bobby Lashley.
Bro.
Right? That's your next Bobby Lashley.
And I'm cool if they go OD with it. Oh, y'all want a black? Y'all want another black superstar? OD Obafemi, and I'll be happy as hell because he's the next one for me.
Obafemi comes up to the main roster, gets one of those belts, a la Braun Breaker as far as in a short period of time. But unlike Braun Breaker, is very difficult to get the belt off of. Like you said, still go OD with it. I don't give a fuck.
When y'all say go OD, talk to us rookies. What's OD?
So like overdose it. Like just give me
just lean.
Give me Obafemi going 72-0. I don't give me the next Goldberg.
Like a Goldberg. Like a Goldberg. Okay,
give me Brock Lesnar.
Blackberg. Just go Blackberg. Not even gold. He's not even gold. He's Blackberg. Right? I'm coining that right now.
I love it.
I'm coining that right now. Let him go Blackberg. Right?
I feel like after that Triple H press conference when they asked him about so what of the black representation, he's like, all right, we really need a Braun Breaker. Like we really need to go.
Braun is the bill. Braun,
we gotta
he's more light skinned than me.
That motherfucker putting a tan. Like we gotta figure this out right now.
Same with Sonya. And then they probably looked at Triple H and was like, you realize she's a woman of color? He was like, give her more color. Give her more. He's just like, Sonya, you're already brown. Why are you browner?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Oh,
But
man.
I mean, and then add on the fact that it is, I have to speak on this every single
They're
time.
gonna drop the
every
hard
chance
R
I
on
get.
Breaker.
It's impossible for me
With the
to
three
keep
Ks in them.
forgiving. Yeah, true. Oh, damn.
Braun Breaker now.
Damn. I gotta pause on that one for a second. Hold up. I can't let you hood my boy Braun
we
up
see
like
you,
that.
Triple H. You got
I
to.
can't let man. I can't let you turn Braun into the Grand Wizard.
Nah, we
I
gonna
can't
do
let
that.
you-
Braun cool as hell, man.
Cause that's the
Braun-
homie, man. That's the homie. And he from the that's the, you know, we
Hey,
love
from the A,
Braun.
yeah.
Man. I ain't gonna let you do him. I ain't gonna let him do you like that.
Oh,
But
man.
I can't continuously forgive Triple H for the screw job that keeps happening when it comes to the Street Profits. It just keeps happening. And yes, I
That's
would
my
love
only
to see.
experience. That's
I would
my
love
only
to see
experience. Watching.
Montez.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I would love to see Montez branch out and do his thing, and I'm not saying that as a knock to Angelo because Dawkins has absolutely stepped his game up over the past couple years, especially for his size. Katie, I know you love big boy wrestling. That's a
Yep.
big boy who can move like that. That's kind of ridiculous. But to that point, I think if you pop them apart, I think Dawkins would do
I was
well.
just thinking that too. Maybe Dawkins
I think
could hold
he'd
his
be
weight.
one of your best mid carders instantly, whereas Montez would be one of your mega stars.
Mega.
Right?
So
And if
we
you're not going to give them gold again together, then stop playing with them boys' time. Break them apart, let them be great separately, and use Montez because Montez could be for the men's division what Bianca is for the women's division. And the fact
So-
that they're actually married in real life, like how many ways could you spin that storyline? I mean, it's just right there for the take, and just take it. I think one of the bigger things, one of the bigger problems is when Triple H was asked about it, he said, I don't see color. What really put egg on his face? Who's outside of Roman? Who's the face of WWE right now?
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes. Okay, somebody put a clip on Twitter,
I saw that.
quote tweeted on top of Triple H saying he doesn't see color. It's a clip from AEW when Cody was starting up AEW, and Cody was asked about the comment of how do you take when someone is asked a question about diversity and whatnot, and they say I don't see color. Cody went into a long, intelligent, and culturally sensitive and empathetic monologue about being taught that because he said I used to feel the same way because I was like, well, no, I just see everybody equally. But it was his wife, Brandy, a black woman, who told him he can't operate like that because if you operate like that, you'll never be able to understand, sympathize, and empathize. And he said ever since his wife, a black woman, this is Cody Rhodes talking on video, saying ever since she gave him that perspective, a light bulb went off and he won't accept that anymore. But Triple H, as recently as Saturday, just said it. So there's a disconnect and psychological approach to this from the chief content creator and the face of the organization, right? And I'm on the side of Cody Rhodes in this. I'm like, man, miss me with the whole I don't see
that's
color
not a good
shit.
thing to say, man.
Yeah, that's
it's not.
and
It's
it's also a
unacceptable
cop
to
out.
say
It's
in these
easy
things,
for you
yeah.
to say when you're on the nice side of
Right.
the fence. It's easy for you to say, well, I don't see any of
When
that
you
because you
make the
don't have
decisions.
to. Because you don't and you don't have to see it. So the fact that you're choosing that makes it that much worse. We, as people of color, as those superstars of color, they have to see it. They've had to deal with it. And a lot of them are not going to come out and say anything against it because it could be
It's their
the
job.
thing that sets their bridge on fire and they might not
Exactly.
ever get another job in this industry. So they're going to continue to chug along. But the onus is on people like ourselves and other analysts and the fans and whomever asked that question, the media who asked that question to Triple H, stay on those organizations like that because if nothing else, it keeps it in the forefront of their mind where they can't duck and dodge and get away from it.
And they listen.
And I love Triple H, but that answer was a cop out. We be better, Hunter. Love you to death. You're on my Mount Rushmore, but you got to do better. You got to do better than that one.
Remembering that I come from leaving wrestling in the mid to late 90s, so I came back from an era where every black wrestler had a racial stereotype gimmick associated
Booker
with
T
them,
being
right?
the main one, and Booker spoke on
Even
that
like even
recently.
before them, like Coco Beware and Kamala,
Junkyard
all of
Dog.
those Junkyard Dog, like
Kamala
all
was
of these
crazy
people,
because
and
he's not
the Ted DiBiase's and the big boss man of the world, and Ted DiBiase's basic sidekick. I don't even remember his name. Virgil, right? That was right. Virgil.
Oh,
Rest
we're
in
missing
peace.
a
Like,
huge one. We're missing a huge one. I'm blanking out. So please feel free to
I
throw
mean,
his
we
name
can
out
go
there.
to
Who? But
Right.
no. Who was my guy who was the pimp? Who was my guy who?
Oh,
who was the
Godfather.
pimp? Godfather. Yeah.
Right. So I come
prime
from
time the tag teams.
I come from that era of wrestling, and Black wrestling fans have endured that and still would throw down for the sport. I come from that era, and seeing where we are now, where tag teams don't even matter anymore. Like, they don't put work into the tag team division, and seeing how good Street Profits is, to hold them back from holding the title. And I know you guys tell me they held the title several years ago. I think it was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but it's
they've held
now.
the title before. But to see right now the state of the tag team division now, and to have this very worthy tag team, and to have a storyline that they've invested in with them and the Bloodline, to them continually not get it, just raises a red flag for me. Like, I get what you're saying still, and I'm on the same page. Like, as far as singles wrestlers, there's really not anybody in the WWE that you can say. Like, it gives Triple H cover because there's been no storylines that have been developed for any of the Black wrestlers to be, single. And again, Carmelo is kind of fresh. He was just drafted from the NXT. But you see what Shawn Michaels has done in the NXT with Kalani Jordan, with Jada Parker is on her way up, with Oba Femi being the longest reigning champion, with Javon Evans seemingly being the next big superstar at, they say he's 19. I don't know how real that is or whatever the case may be. But you see how over all of this talent is in the NXT, where everybody of all races go to forge themselves and become superstars. You see how much talent there is there. It just seems like a disconnect with the bigger brands, that there's nobody that has come along in the last couple of years to be on that pedestal.
But look, even and not to interrupt, Katie, because I got to say
No,
while
go
it's
ahead.
fresh in my mind, I want to make sure that the viewers and the listeners of this podcast understand we are not shrinking this to the African American culture, right? Because if you talk about the talent that is there, talk about Sol Ruka, for example, talk about the fact that why is Zelina Vega not getting her push, right? So we're talking about Latinos as much as we're talking about the Black superstars as well. Fact being, if you look at what's happening with Zelina, they keep kind of muddying her with this whole, like, look at what women's battle royale against PFC. Who gives a shit about PSC? Pushes Zelina, push Sol Ruka to the main roster, things like that. Like you said, Jada Parker, you have Lash Legend. I mean, you have those types of names that are ready to come up. But what really prompted this conversation and this question on Saturday was the lack of representation at Bad Blood.
Right.
Because outside of the main event, and the main event containing, the Bloodline, which are Samoan, outside of that, you had Hell in a Cell, you had two white guys. By the way, Hell in a Cell, one of the best ever.
98 out of 100. 98 out of 100. It was a phenomenal
match. This is not talking. This is not talking about this. This is strictly about what we're talking about. And then after that, you had Liv and Rhea, you had Finn, and I'll give them Damien. Obviously, Damien is Puerto Rican.
That's
wait,
is he?
He's Puerto Rican.
I was going to say, when
you might not have noticed.
No, I don't think I noticed.
He won't let you forget. Nice. But when you look at the card for Bad Blood, and I know you guys are going to agree, if every one of those matches were bangers, then you probably wouldn't ask the question, because it would go to what Triple H is saying as far as the draw. Okay. But you had an absolute you had a legendary match up front, a legendary match in the back, and three very mid fucking matches. You could have replaced either one of them with the tag match from SmackDown and let Street Profits fucking cook, and then give them the fucking belt. But what my point being, that you can't have a 5-match PLE and have complete lack of diversity, with the exception of who we're talking about, who we mentioned, and 3 of the 5 matches were throwaways.
Yeah.
But this conversation actually goes beyond Bad Blood. I mean, it's been.
No, I'm saying that's what really brought it back.
But just a recent example.
Sample size,
and still hold that thought. I want you to get to that thought. But to make matters worse, they have a tag team women's champion team that is black, and they had them host.
They had them
Like, they
host,
were the host.
and then threw Naomi in as well. It was like, hey, by the way, yeah, go on out there with them.
Like, oh, we at Atlanta have them host.
I have my thoughts on the tag
in
women's
Atlanta
division,
of all
but
cities. In
yeah.
Atlanta,
that was weird. You know, that was weird. But this conversation, I think, was brought up like for a while now. But the reason why I came back to the forefront, because I believe it was another consecutive PLE where there was no singles of a black athlete, black superstar on the card. So it goes to SummerSlam. Hell, it could even go back to WrestleMania. I'm trying to think. It goes back a little bit, and it's like, okay, another one, and another one. Like, what's going on here? When are we going to get a representation? And you brought up, the Hispanic culture too. Damian Priest was holding it down. You know, he was holding. So if that's what's so weird, okay. And I get it. Priest
and Dom, we forget, Dom.
So
Dom
does Bayley embrace her heritage?
Not really.
No. And
Zelina
this
does.
is not saying that she denies it, because she doesn't deny her
Right.
heritage.
There's a
But
difference.
she doesn't wear it on her.
She
doesn't wear it on her sleeve like Zelina and Damian and Dom. Like, she doesn't wear it on her
And
sleeve.
I think it's
So
different
it's easy
for women.
to forget
though.
that. Yeah,
They
it's
put those
easy for
on.
people
It
to
does kinda
think
feel
that
that way.
Bailey's
It
white.
does kinda
It's
feel
easy
that
for people
way.
to think Bailey's white, but Bailey's not white.
And-
Those are Bolivian curves, baby.
Yeah, that's what I was about
Not
to say.
to-
I mean, it depends on which angle you're, whether or not you could believe. Anyway, sorry.
Not to dismiss what any of you were talking about, but I think another issue on top of it is that the men's tag division is just really bad. Like the fact that you have a tag team champion in a singles match on a pay-per-view, to me, is a big part of the problem too.
Dude, they've only defended that once.
No,
Twice,
and then
maybe
right, exactly.
Twice,
You have
I think.
that tag team champion in a singles competition at a PLE, and then you have the Bloodline, who don't need those titles at all. They're not defending them against anybody else really outside of the main event from SmackDown.
Right.
To me, it just says that, like, okay, we really don't care about these men's tag titles.
Which is why
that's
the
salt in the wound.
Profits,
That's
it would
the
re-elevate
salt.
the
Exactly.
yeah, it would re-elevate the belt.
But they
It
have
would
no
add
interest in
credibility.
doing that. They want to keep their factions looking strong. That's why the factions have those tag team belts.
Right. And I get that mentality. I don't agree with it, but I at least understand that line of thinking. But again, this is an opportunity that they could have easily have just, and it's something that we experience all the time and we see all the time. You could at least throw the bone. If you don't care about tag teams, at least give it to the black team that's worth it. Like, I mean, it's not like they don't deserve it. They deserve it. And you're
why I
not
don't even
doing that. That's what
again, it's no
makes it a
surprise
little bit
that
questionable to me.
It's no surprise that your two biggest factions have those belts. It's just to make the factions look better.
Here's why I don't know that I agree with it's the faction thing. So yeah, it does make them look better to have the belt, but I don't know if that's why they give them the belts at this point. And the reason I say that is because if that's the case, when Bobby Lashley tried to turn the Street Profits and himself into a faction, they still couldn't get the belts.
But they couldn't get over. They bungled that. They try to make them a.
Well, that's because they hate black people.
So how much? So let's be honest.
I'm kidding.
So hold on. So let me ask you a question.
We're just asking where's the diversity. Not saying they hate black people, because they don't.
Yeah, no. We're not saying that, but
they're not Terry.
That part of the question.
Terry hates black people. Terry hates black people.
Let's absolutely, but let's ask that part of the question: is does crowd response when you're Triple H? And you need to make sure that you are getting the fans to spend as much money as possible because you are beholden to your sponsors, you are beholden to the bottom line. Does the way fans feel about black champions enter into his line of thinking? In your opinion,
I'm going to say it this way, and I'm going to throw it to Will. I'm going to say it this way. Not the one, because there are several reasons, but one big reason I love wrestling, one magnificently beautiful reason, is because unlike yesteryear, even when I loved wrestling yesteryear, obviously I grew up a wrestling nerd, so yeah, the Booker T's and Godfathers, yeah, okay, you got me. But nowadays, when you look at the WWE universe, for them, it's not about the color of the wrestler.
Okay.
It's about the
Yep.
aura. It's about the mic work. It's about the ring work. I've literally never seen an era in wrestling that compares to this era that we're in right now when it comes to fandom being so equally opportunistic. Right?
Okay.
If you have mic work, you can get over. If you combine that with elite ring work or even above average ring work, that makes it that much better. And now the only thing that is missing is the look. And the look for me, to answer the question, from a fan's perspective, the WWE universe perspective, I don't think that look has anything to do with the color. It's the look that feeds into the character, that feeds into the aura or lack thereof. So I'm very, very proud of WWE fans in 2024, 2023, 2022, because they're not looking at color. They don't expect that when they see a black wrestler that he's going to be portrayed as a Detroit pimp, or that he's going to have to jive talk, right? When you see Jey Uso, it's yeet. They're having fun with it, right?
Right.
And so it's just aura, presentation, mic work. If you have the total package, fans could give less than a shit what color you are, and that's the beauty of it. So I'm not going to let that be an excuse for Triple H, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't. So you asked the question: does Triple H care if how fans feel about black representation? Right. I think Triple H cares about how fans feel. Period. Like that. That's It's
Look
like
at the
he said,
WrestleMania pivot.
it's not really about the. I don't want to lean into what Triple H said, but it's not really about the color. I wish he didn't say that, but I get what he's trying to say. Like, can this guy sell? Is he a draw? Is he this mega star? And in today's era, there's not many of them yet. Now, where I would peel it back a little bit more, say, okay, well, make one, build it, give them the storyline, get them involved in this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you got to put the belt on them just cause, but I would like to see them push that a little bit more there, where, you know, no offense to my guy, I love R-Truth. They gave him a title, but R-Truth is looked at as the funny
Comic
guy,
relief.
comic relief,
comic relief.
rapper.
He's
I
comic
mean,
relief.
it still is kind of the cliche, right? What's up, what's up, and the rapping and stuff. So it's a little still cliche, but we all love R-Truth, right? But they took those belts off and then put it on the Judgment Day, right? So yeah, I don't, to answer your question, I don't think. Now, I don't know. Now, on social media, he may hear the noise or what have you. I don't think he cares about that. I think he cares about how the fans feel, period. And if wrestling, that's the beauty. What you were about to say, to me, the beautiful thing about wrestling is it brings together all ages, races, colors. It does not matter, man. Go to WrestleMania, go to these things. I see somebody NWO shirt. I don't give a damn what color. Bow! I'm hitting them with the NWO, man. Long. Like it's a beautiful thing. You get a chance to be around thousands of people that you can nerd out with, and not have to feel no certain type of way about it. And that's what wrestling does. And if that group of people feel like Montez Ford, he's over, and the reason why I keep bringing him up, y'all, KD, a couple years ago, he was this close. All they had to do was rip the damn Band-Aid off and push him, and Montez Ford would have went to the roof. They didn't do it. But if the fans feel like that connection to him, Triple H will say, you know what, let's do it.
Yeah.
Who
agreed?
The fans feel the connection to who? Jay. Yeet. They feel the connection to Ron Killings, R-Truth. What's up? They feel the connection. At one point it was to Ricochet, and they put the title on him. So it's twofold. Are you assisting the African-American superstars in getting over? And are you, as the superstar, doing what you need to do to get over? Because if you're not, I don't care what color you are. I'm not fooling with you if you ain't over.
Let's not forget Kofi Mania either.
Kofi, that's a perfect example. Kofi grabbed everybody's heartstrings. And Vince said, I don't give a we're putting the title on Kofi. And I'll shit you not, bro, because we could talk amongst people. I shed a tear. I literally cried when Kofi Kingston won the title at WrestleMania a few years ago. Not like, crazy cry, but man, I got emotional about it. Because it was like, man, we all really were rooting for Kofi. They did it, and they didn't see color. They said, I hate to use that, but they said this man is over. Black, white, Puerto Rican, or Haitian. But guess what? Because he was black, we all felt a connection. MVP's crying. Crime Time is crying. Everybody's crying because it's kind of like when Obama got elected. It was like, damn, man.
Was it as universal as, again, because I missed that entire era, was it as
Jay, you're about
universal
to
as
say
how we
Jay.
all felt about Jay? Like, because when
Yes.
Jay got over, like,
brother,
I
times
got
100.
emotional watching him. It was
Yeah,
it was more than that.
Times a million, yeah.
exponential.
Times a million.
Yeah, it
Exponential.
was huge. It was huge.
Because the odds of
However,
it happening
Was it
were
WrestleMania or
slim.
SummerSlam? I couldn't remember now.
it was WrestleMania. That was Kofi Mania.
Kofi
Kofi
Mania,
Mania.
exactly, bro. It happened at WrestleMania.
But
In
the
the
way
way it happened, he wasn't supposed to get the shot. He tripped. It was somebody got hurt, and he got so over, and they looked at that and said, "All right, well let's do this again next week and next week." And they said, "Okay, this is it. This is the next guy. Let's push him." So
That's dope.
it's up to
That's
you. Kofi was able to galvanize the universe. Montez can do it. I'm telling you, man. Montez can do it.
Without a doubt.
But unfortunately, they buried Kofi a
Then they
couple of
buried
weeks
him
later.
because guess who?
Vince McMahon.
Vince and Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar is why they buried Kofi.
No.
Brock Lesnar. The only thing I didn't like about that,
Who
that
isn't
whole
black?
thing-
So, like, damn it.
The only thing I didn't like about that was the whole portraying Kofi as Jamaican when he wasn't Jamaican. Let me just be clear, whether it be Vince or Triple H
He's
or
Nigerian, correct?
Yes, correct. Whichever person of Caucasian persuasion. All right, here's a learning tool for you,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen.
Because we want people to learn. We don't we don't just complain and complain. We want
you
people to improve.
Within side of the black community, we don't like when you portray one person as another culture, because it's like black culture is not just black culture.
Right.
Okay. Inside of black culture, you have Nigerian, you have South African, you have Jamaican, you have hell, Cuban,
Southern,
which is a mix
West
between
Coast.
black and right. You have all
Like,
of this.
we have- yeah.
All of
They
that
had that
gets
man
in.
with a Jamaican accent, bro.
There was the visual cues too, constantly in Jamaican garb, like the colors,
The theme,
the
I
flag,
think, was
and things
Jamaican.
like that. Right, and
I mean, they did it.
His last name is
too.
fucking
Pacific
Kingston.
Island.
Like,
they do that to
that's what I'm
Pacific
saying,
Islanders
Kingston,
too, right?
Jamaica,
Yeah.
like
Right.
And
But Pacific
and then
Islanders
he
have dealt with the same thing for decades, right? I mean, there were like Yokozuna, like
Bro, I thought
Yokozuna?
Yokozuna was Asian
Samoan.
for a long time when I was a kid.
Samoan.
Then I found
Yeah,
out
they,
he was
because they
Samoan.
sold him as a Japanese. They sold him as a Japanese sumo
Right.
wrestler,
right,
but he's Samoan.
He's Samoan.
right.
Blows
Like,
your
it's-
mind.
I
And it's
would
just
rather you
like,
just stick.
all we're saying is, don't do that. Just respect the culture of the superstar, and then put them over in that capacity and let it go like that.
Hey,
And
he got
that's
the
all
hell
I'm
over
saying.
though.
He
Yokozuna,
did as a Japanese sumo wrestler.
bro. Yoko was the motherfucker though, man.
Even the name Yokozuna
He's a
Come
champion
on,
sumo
man.
wrestler.
They had me
Oh,
so
man.
fooled as a kid.
I thought he was
So
Asian.
Absolutely.
That
I was
motherfucker
like, man, that-
Absolutely
I was like,
fooled,
bro,
man.
that
And
is
I'd
a
be
big
embarrassed that I
ass-
was that fooled, yeah.
Listen, I was like that, and I realized there's diversity of sizes and everything. So not every Japanese man is like 5'8" or 5'7". I get that, right? But I was like that. I remember the 10-year-old me like, God damn, that's a big ass Japanese dude.
With Mr. Fuji coming out, they sold the
Right,
hell out of me,
with
fam.
Mr. Fuji,
Oh,
but
they
then you grow
sold
up
the
and you,
hell
then
out
you
of it.
grow, right. Then you grow up and you realize that he was Samoan, and you're like, oh, that's why he was big as hell. He's fucking
Right.
Samoan. They breed big
The
motherfuckers.
motherfucker from Compton.
Look,
Like,
the dude is like
think-
5'10". You're like, this is the LeBron James of
That's what
Asian
I'm
guys.
saying. Like, contrarily, I'm surprised Jimmy and Jay so small.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Listen,
but
I
this is all
appreciate-
fun talk, man. But
Yeah.
Triple H,
I
I think
appreciate-
I'm with Will.
Trips,
I
we
think
love you, dog.
He
Yeah.
misspoke. If he had simply said, and this is perfectly said by Steele, if Triple H would have said it's not about color, as opposed to I don't see color, we're having a different
Right.
conversation.
That's
We're having
well
a different
put.
conversation.
Well put.
So I'm thinking he just misspoke, and I'm going to say that based on his track record of not far more often than not, this is not a narrative of Triple H. I'm going to give him the credit for that. I'm going to give him the grace for that, and hopefully he, much like when he pivoted with WrestleMania, hopefully because of the fans, hopefully he's hearing the fans, and this will be the beginning of him maybe looking at finally putting over Montez as a solo, and or when the draft comes around, let me see some Obafemi, go Blackberg on the industry. That's what I want to see.
I love it. Any parting thoughts before we get out of here? Because we've been rapping for a while, and I
Nah, this was
appreciate
great.
you
It was
guys'
good.
time, but yeah, it was a
We
very
cooked up.
very
I feel
needed
like we're missing something,
conversation.
man. We touched on Hell in the Cell. We didn't really get.
Yeah, we
all the way
didn't. I
into
know.
it.
We
Yeah.
didn't talk about Drew and Punk, how that was the best match, and it was amazing.
Let's finish
but-
out on that. Josh, what's your opinion on Hell in the Cell? What do you rank it amongst the best?
I said it on the recap show. Thank you for checking it out, Patrick.
Yeah, we were there.
It was the best Hell in the Cell match since Triple H Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. It
Wow.
was
That's
for me,
high praise.
and it earned that. It really
Seth
earned.
and Cody was pretty good, but yeah.
No, yeah. That too. But for me, at least this one, it like CM Punk was talking about even before the match, it's that it was earned and it wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Like they earned it, and regardless of a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view or not, they're like, no,
That's a
we're
good point.
doing a Hell in a Cell match because this match deserves it.
Right.
To me, that it was cinema. It absolutely was. To me, there was no beating it. That was the best match of the night by far.
We often harken back to the 90s about like that aura and that feel. Boy,
Yeah.
this felt like Cactus Jack or Mankind in there with Undertaker. This felt like Shawn Michaels, Undertaker in the very first, was that the very first Hell in a Cell ever? I believe it was. The very first one. This felt like that. And I didn't want it to end, y'all. I felt so bad because I was like, this dude's gonna die. Somebody's gonna fucking die in here if we don't end. But I don't want it to. Somebody gotta die for my entertainment. So fuck it.
Yeah.
But it was, I
No
mean,
film.
from just the pouring of the beads, missing the bro kick and hitting the steel steps.
Oh, when he
Yeah.
broke, I can't.
brother.
My son thought he broke his back.
I
He
broke
was
my
like,
back.
how was he gonna
Mike
live?
Tyson said, I broke my back.
He really got split though, KD. When he
Yeah,
got
no,
hit
he
with
did.
the
Yeah.
with the
With the
toolbox, he got
Yeah.
split.
Yep.
I mean, and then
And
this is the other thing I love.
Dude.
This is the other
It
thing I
was
love.
pouring.
Y'all will love this too. I love how they harken back to historical moments in these situations. The blood bleeding down his face. I don't know if this was written. This was part of it. Maybe they called this, but you don't really see Punk putting in the sharpshooter much. They put the sharpshooter on. They got the blood pouring, and you got Drew McIntyre pushing up in the same way that Stone Cold did.
Yeah.
And the blood pouring down. And I'm just like, man, I got chills. I think it was an amazing match, bro. And I'm like,
homage for sure.
y'all opened up with this. Good the fuck luck.
Yeah, that match was one of the best I've ever seen in all my life. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. Front to back, it was an absolute movie. Didn't want it to end at any point. It was a great mix of things that were supposed to happen with things that, oh shit, that's not supposed to happen. Drew getting busted open with the toolbox, and the blood is literally pouring. To the point where the officials have to interrupt to wipe blood from their faces.
Yes.
Right. And then kind of going back to Undertaker versus Mankind, I'm right there with you still, because in real time, when Drew brought out that little sack, that velvet bag, right? In my head, I was like, please be thumbtacks. Please be thumbtacks. Be thumbtacks.
Right.
And it was just broken beads. I was actually disappointed that it wasn't thumbtacks.
But yeah.
Because I wanted all the violence, not just most of the violence. I wanted all the violence. And I wanted it to be real. I wanted to see him hurt, right? See him hurt. Nice. I wanted to see that pain manifest. And it's like, damn, I really don't want anybody to get hurt. But damn, it sure would be entertaining if one of these sons of bitches got hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what Hell in a Cell does. Like, that's an epic Hell in a Cell match. They've had some botched Hell in a Cell matches. An epic Hell in a Cell match, it draws the darkest side of the viewer out, and it makes you find yourself rooting for the worst
violence.
Possible outcome, and you start wondering, damn, am I a bad person? Because I like this
to that
shit.
point.
Like, I
to that
like
point,
this shit. So
my 10-year-old actually asked me. He was like, "Should I be watching this?" Like, he legit.
Hell yeah, you should, brother.
Watching the 90s, brother.
Stunned
Attitude
at
Era,
the amount
he wouldn't
of
have been able to watch
violence
that.
in that match.
That
Like,
match
it really
was
took him back.
phenomenal,
And I was like,
man.
yeah, it's okay. We can keep watching. If you don't want to watch, that's cool. But he really turned to me and questioned. He was like, should I be watching this?
Listen, it was a hard movie.
When he had the gash and Punk took the wrench to the gash, like, they were
and
going.
shouts out to Drew.
They were hooping
because Drew is bleeding profusely in real life.
Real life. Yes, sir.
And the official, I think the second time he tried to wipe his face, Drew pushed him away. Like, get that shit away
This is
from
the
me,
money
man.
shot. What are you
Let
doing?
it happen.
He's like, get that shit away from me, man. Die or kill. So yeah, man, magnificent. And I know some people were saying, or they were saying, replying to the AEW. And if you're not following Anu Wrestling on Twitter and all the platforms, what the hell are you even doing?
What are you doing?
Especially live. We live tweet events, we live
Right.
tweet the episode, the weekly episodes and everything. So anyway, one of the replies to one of the live tweets on AEW on Twitter, when basically, yeah, I was poo-pooing the shit out of those match 2, 3, and 4 because they were super fucking mid. And somebody was like, "Well, what if we feel this way because Hell in a Cell was what it was?" I said, "No, remove Hell in a Cell, and these matches still suck. These matches suck." So yes, I get what Steele's saying. After a match like Hell in a Cell, it's like, damn, good luck topping that. But that's not the reason the next 3 matches suck. They just sucked in and of themselves,
Yeah, they weren't
including the botched Raquel Rodriguez reappearance. And is it a disqualification? Is it supposed to be a pin? Or what's going on?
That was so bad, bro.
But the end of Bad Blood and the beginning of Bad Blood, you're hard pressed to top that. And I can't wait to see how they try to top that with Survivor Series and then Royal Rumble, because like we talked about with Kevin Owens, here we are. Here's Jimmy. They could have stopped at Jimmy, and one of our socks would have still been blown across the room. What do you do with your smell? And now we can't even breathe right. We're like, holy shit. And it goes off broadcast, and we're still sitting here trying to grab our breath, and everybody in the world is talking about the Rock's back, and Jimmy's back. The Rock. Whoa, Kevin, what are you doing? Oh shit, Kevin. Right. Yeah, cook up, Triple H, cook up. That other thing, improve that other thing. But this thing, you got this thing right here on lock.
What Josh and I spoke about it in the post show was it felt like they knew that they had Epic for match 1 and match 5. And they knew that they had the big announcement that they were going to have the champions face off against each other in Crown Jewel. And they didn't do any. They felt like that was enough for I'll call it a mid-card PLE, not one of the big 4, not one of the other ones that we pay a whole lot of attention to normally. It was just kind of in the rhythm, the ebbs and flows of the heights of the PLEs. It felt like they were just throwing away the other matches, because it wasn't just about whether or not they held our interest in the way that they wrote the storylines. It was the execution of the wrestlers in those matches. Everything was off about those matches, right? The Nia Jax and the Bayley match had
matches were not.
Yeah. The Rhea Ripley and like the whole Rhea and Liv thing. Like, I get the whole, interference now. Okay, well, you had Dom,
the execution interferes,
but the execution in the matches was just off.
Those matches brought it down, bro. They brought it down.
Absolutely.
The Donnybrook match should have been on that PLE. That was a fucking banger.
Yeah. That was one from Monday Night Raw.
Damien Finn. I hate to include them in this because they got caught in the middle of this BS. But I think the Nia Jax match and then the botch with Liv really tore this whole thing down.
Well, in those matches, because of the execution. Well, actually, the execution was so poor that I'm not even gonna say that. But I would say like the Damien and Finn match. That wasn't a PLE match. That was a Monday Night Raw match. Yeah. That was a Monday Night Raw match. And if you put that match on Monday Night Raw, we're saying that was a banger for Monday Night Raw. But for it to be a PLE, it didn't live up to the standard. Like I said, what they should have done, maybe move that to Raw and bring the triple threat tag match with the Street Profits.
Or maybe put Gunther on there.
Or Gunther and Sammy.
Gunther on the card instead of having him beef with Goldberg, have him actually wrestle.
Right. Have the Gunther and Sammy, because they chose not to put that on Bad Blood, which everybody was asking, like, well, why wouldn't you? And then, Triple H and everybody was like, and
in retrospect,
they were like, oh, we got this. And then afterwards, we're sitting there watching, and we're like, well, you should have put Sammy and Gunther on. You should have put the Street Profits in that whole match, triple threat match, because a sandwich is only as good as the sum of its parts.
What's in the middle, yeah.
So the top bread was fucking sensational. The bottom bread, I mean, this was a pretzel roll, right? It's just magnificent. But what'd you put? It was a wish sandwich,
right?
Josh, you feel me? It was a wish sandwich.
And here's
the bread was peak, but then everything in between, it was like sugar and mayonnaise. Like, what is this?
Here's my thing. We've had, and I've complained about this on the previous shows, and we're going to wrap up in a second, but I've complained about this in recent shows. We've drawn out this Judgment Day jumping of each other so long to have those be 2 of the 5 matches that they gave us. They didn't give us Sammy and Gunther, and they didn't give us Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. Like, imagine if you had waited. Imagine if you had waited to put Braun Breaker and Jey Uso on this PLE. Imagine if you had Sammy and Gunther on this PLE, and then you had Nia Jackson Bailey for that championship. Imagine
we needed some
lineup.
We needed representation on Bad Blood. Put Braun Breaker in there, dude.
Always Braun Breaker.
They dropped the hammer. They dropped it.
Brown Breaker.
1K and
Brown
A.
Breaker.
1K and A. Yeah.
Okay.
All I know is that at some point in those middle matches, I sat back and I was looking at it. I was like, oh, brother, this PLE sucks.
Hey, No C was not happy. If y'all saw the text,
No C, that breaks No C every single time, man. When you say that, oh brother, this guy stinks.
Oh my god, bro.
Man, what the fuck, man? Exactly. Perfect 10 to start Bad Blood, perfect 10 to end Bad Blood, perfect 10 on what happened after Bad Blood between Kevin and Cody.
Wait,
everything in between.
Wait. The tag match was not a perfect 10. Stop. Hold on.
No, I said to begin.
I know you said perfect 10 to end. The ending of the tag match was everything.
I'm talking about
the first 15 minutes of the tag match was Basura.
I'm talking about
Basura.
The ending.
They saved
the climax.
They saved it, but it was not off to a good start.
That's fair, and I'm with you on that. Not the build, the climax.
There you go.
Okay,
I don't know. There you go. I like Roman going. Tag me.
That part, yes. That part. But once they were past that whole,
Roman was looking at. He's like, y'all want me? They want me?
Until when they separated. Up until when they separated and they focused fully on Jacob. That's when that match turned, right? Everything after that was.
I could have told you that thing wasn't going to be. That's why I didn't want to see it in the first place. But they saved it.
Yeah,
but you know,
let's go and get out of here, man. We got families to feed.
Yeah. I'm getting cussed out.
We're out of here. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Smash that notification button so you don't miss any of these episodes. In the meantime, in between time, subscribe. Follow us on all of the social media channels and New Wrestling on Instagram and New Wrestling Pod. Make sure you're keeping up with us at every opportunity. We're out of here.
Salute.
Salute.
And